Hi there, we're outside our Galway System Integration and Fulfillment facility. The building was built in 2006. It's a 65,000 square foot facility, so I'd like to kind of show you around, so come along with me. We're now in the warehouse of our facility here in Galway. So just behind me here, 30,000 square feet of that is a warehouse, approximately 3,000 pallet positions. So our operation is fully integrated with our US plants, so everything we do here from processes and systems are exactly the same as we do in both Plano and Canton. The other part of our operation is we work to international standards, so all our sites are approved to TL 9000 and ISO 9001, which are quality management systems, environmental standards of ISO 14001, and cybersecurity standards of ISO 27001. But the first step of our manufacturing and fulfillment processes is receiving. So I'm joined here by Justin Francis, who is our Logistics and Trade Compliance Supervisor, and also by Colin Griffin, who is our Materials Manager. So Justin, will you just explain what happens in the receiving process for us?
Our receiving team, they take in our items, so they go right and they check off an approved list, unpack all the items and ensure everything is in order, and they move it on to our stock location, so through here on site.
Colin, from an inventory control perspective, can you just tell us how that works?
So one of the key pieces from an inventory control point of view is just to know what we have and where we have it. So we run a comprehensive cycle count analysis of all our parts. So we want to make sure that we're counting the important pieces at the right time. So we categorize our parts A, B and C, the most important parts. 90% of our dollarized usage of parts get counted in the next 24 business days. They're the A, the key items. The B items, which are used less often, get counted less often, and the C items are some of the peripheral items that get counted after 90 business days. So everything that's within the warehouse gets counted within 90 working days. When we get new parts, we add those to the system, and we're currently operating to an accuracy of 99.9%, which means that when we say to our customers we have the parts, we know we have them and we know exactly where they are.
So in the warehouse we have different types of material. Some of it is UNICOM owned and some of it is customer owned.
Yeah. We run what we call consigned locations. The customer owns them, so we have our UNICOM owned sites, which is where all our business systems, we run our forecasts and our stock is kept there, but we'd also hold what could possibly be returns from customers, and we hold them in a consigned location. So we'll have those physically segregated in our warehouse, so we could have part number A, we could have in a UNICOM site, but we could have also part number A in a customer-owned site, and they're controlled by serial numbers, so they're distinct and we know exactly which are owned by the customer.
Our customers would also be very interested in the level of security we have on site here, so can you just tell us a bit about that?
So part of the reason I guess our accuracy is so high is because we have excellent security control. So we have what's known as known consignor status. That's an accreditation with the Irish Aviation Authority, which basically says that our security protocols are at such a high standard that it allows us to streamline the shipping process. So that's a benefit to the customers, but we have fob access door control all around the building. On the external doors inside, we've got 32 cameras that are recording at all times, so we can see everything that happens and we know everyone who comes in and out. And at the front door, nobody comes in the building without us knowing about it.
Hi, we're here in the production area and I'd like to introduce you to Jeff French, who's responsible for production in UNICOM Galway. So Jeff, can you tell me what happens here?
Yeah, no problem, John. So after the manufacturing order comes from the picking area, it comes into the assembly team here, and we have maybe 3 to 4 assemblers here, and all of our assembly are trained in level certificate 1 and 2. So what happens at the start, they get their manufacturing order, they're getting their item number, they're going on to the computer, and we have a data controlled system called Oracle. And in Oracle, what they're doing is they're opening up a work instruction, and in the work instruction, they're using the item number that's on the sheet. They're looking up what the assembly work instruction. They're downloading the assembly work instruction, and then they're starting to follow the steps in the work instruction on how to assemble the unit based on the item number. But once that is done, we're using an internal system called Factory Talk, and that's also to capture the data. So every time they're building the unit and they're putting a component into the unit, into the chassis, the information from Oracle will transfer over to Factory Talk, and they need to scan that part number into Factory Talk to confirm that that component has gone into the chassis. Once they've finished the build, they'll put the lid back on, and then they'll move it to the test area.
So there's a complete history of all the components that go into each
There's
product.
a complete history to see, so we can go use device history, or we can go into Factory Talk and look up using the serial number on the chassis. We can use that then to go back and check to see what was installed in the unit.
Thank you, Jeff.
Cheers, thanks.
So after assembly, the product goes into the test area, and I'm joined here by Alan Anderson, who will tell us a bit of how the test process works.
Yes, so all the product we build here will go through our test process. This will perform a basic functionality test and flash various firmwares. We use NEI Builder as our application to do all our testing. This is a UNICOM Engineering application which allows us to automate testing. It consists of customized task lists which are different for each customer. These task lists are generally test scripts which form different tests, such as firmware flashing on the iDRAC, the BIOS, the RAID cards, various network cards and hard drives. It also performs network tests on all the units. It performs PCI slot testing, performs our 2-hour passmark test, which is a benchmark stress test, which we do on all our products. It also, depending on customer requirements, we can build various RAIDs, set various BIOS settings and run profile.
So our test processes are also synchronized with our other sites as well, that's correct?
Yes, that is correct. So depending on the product owner, they're in charge of the test scripts, which automatically each night get copied over per site, so we're consistent across each site.
As part of our global services, our customers can send back products to us for repair, refurbishment or upgrade. We're joined by Jeff again, who will tell us what happens in this area. Jeff?
So here we have our data security center, which is on the production floor here in Galway. So what happens is the RMA gets received in the warehouse, and it has 4 hours to get back up in here into the data security center, and that's due to because there's customer data on the hard drives. For security reasons, it needs to be up here within a certain time frame. Also, as well, if there's an issue with receiving, we do have a caged area down in the warehouse that the unit can be stored. So what happens is it comes up here, it goes into the top of RMA, it goes into the queue. We have a 15-day turnaround time, so the unit comes in, it's put onto test. When it's on test, it's disk shredded, which means that the data is wiped from the hard drives and it's removed, and then it's tested to the latest rev and making sure that everything is functional and working fine. If we get a unit back that is physically damaged and you cannot test it and you cannot remove the information from the hard drives, we do also have a degausser, and we have also a grinder. So the degausser is using electromagnetics to remove the data from the hard drive, and then it goes into the grinder to make sure that any information that was there is wiped. So after that, once it's finished test and it's up to the latest rev, the unit will come to the pack out area, and in the pack out area, just like in an assembly, they'll be opening up work instructions, checking what needs to go in. So there'll be maybe a separate work instruction for RMA. They'll be looking through that, and they'll be printing the labels again in Factory Talk, like we mentioned above, in assembly, and then they'll be printing and putting components into the packaging and then moving that out to the warehouse.
Jeff, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
So after a functional test, the product moves on to the final step of the manufacturing process, which is pack out. So I'm joined by Dennis Murphy, who is our process engineer for the area here, and Dennis will tell us what happens in the pack out area.
Pack out, sometimes it's kind of forgotten son of the whole process, but I think it's actually nearly the most important part. When you buy a server, the first thing you see is the cardboard box. You open it up, the first thing you're looking for are the accessories, power cords. So it's as important as the assembly and test process. We use the same control systems. We use Factory Talk and to monitor the parts going through and to verify that everything that's in the box is placed in there and recorded. The work instructions are the same, they're opened at all times and people follow them going through.
After they pack out products, will
Shipped to warehouse and distributed immediately to customer or waiting for an order.
Dennis, as process engineer, you're also responsible for engineering control and also new product introduction. So do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So we use a document control system, Oracle. So all our work instructions, but also the bills and materials of all our product are stored on that one. If we want to change it for whatever reason, if we want to change a component use or a design use, or we're introducing new product, it all has to be recorded in Oracle, and you cannot change anything in Oracle without an engineering change order. It's a mechanism whereby anybody involved in the process signs off on the changes. So, from the finance team buying components through the engineering and account management team, everybody has to agree to the change in the ECO, sign off on it, and only then does the change become live in Oracle. And then when we open an MO, the new parts start to flow that way.
And that happens for the product across all sites.
We have our own accounts here where I'm part of the process of designing the bombs and figuring out the process, writing the work instructions for that product. But that function happens across all sites in the States as well. So when changes happen, I'm the focal point here in Galway to make sure that we see the change, we understand what the changes are, and that we're ready for it. Work instructions are in place, product is coming, and part of the role is then telling you and the rest of the ops team what changes are coming, how we've to manage it.
Okay, Dennis, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, as Dennis mentioned there, at the end of pack out, the product moves into the shipping area. So Colm and Justin have joined me again. Colm, can you just tell us a bit about the order picking process?
So our order management team, they put up a sales order for the shipping team to process. So we'll pick the good parts from the shelf, we'll pack them, process them, and we're ready for the next part of the checks in the process. And one of those checks is what's called denied party screening. So Justin, maybe you can explain a bit of what that is.
Denied party screening is ensuring that we send the correct parts to the correct countries and authorised by the correct bodies in each individual country. We ship to 70 countries, say from primarily Europe, Asia and Asia Pacific and that, right? So all around the world, yeah.
Perfect. And what different kind of regulatory documents would we process or need for those?
We process certificates of conformity and also certificates of origin, so we do on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
No problem.